have a very special guest for you tonight.
Hello, we've been expecting you.
This is not a test. Your government and corporate overlords have implemented new measures for your own health and safety. We are just following orders.
Everything is going to be fine.
I'd like to introduce
Welcome everyone to another If by Whiskey. How's everybody doing out there? Jason, how are you, buddy?
Doing good. Just getting our show posted here. Yeah,
You got our friend down here.
it's a beautiful day. We've got AncapTim, a wonderful musical artist, joining us today. Welcome, Tim. How you doing?
Hey, good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
So this is a really awesome thing. So ANCAP, you reached out to us. Jason, should we start with our sip and then get into this, or how would you like to start, sir?
Let's do a little intro while people start to trickle in, because they got to do the sip with us. It has to be together, or it doesn't confuse the AI overlords.
And simulation. It's
That's
a
right.
simultaneous simulation.
Simultaneation.
There we are. So how did you? I heard you guys just met, just kind of contact each other. I'd love to hear a little bit of background of like how you guys.
I started following Tim on Instagram from our account, our new account that we set up. By the way, everybody go follow us at If by Whiskey Podcast. But he reached out actually and said, "Hey, I got this music. I want to talk about it. Can I come on your show?" And here you are. Thank you for reaching out, Tim.
Please have me on your show.
No, we love it when people reach out to us. That makes it so much easier.
It definitely makes it easier for us. So welcome.
Yeah. So give us a little intro. How did you start doing this music stuff, and what's it about?
I got into music in my teens, mainly in church music, and I learned to play quite a few instruments. My uncle taught me how to play different things, and bass and the keyboard. Then I learned a little bit of guitar. As far as I'm not very good on the guitar, but I can keep rhythm, and I can play four chords. And you can play four chords, you can pretty much play anything. So, and then just here recently, I've just started.
You can be a Green Day band.
Yeah. Definitely. Oh yeah.
Or the Ramones or anybody.
You don't even have to know the full chord, just a bar chord, for the Green Day. But yeah, so I guess during COVID was the time that I started actually writing. I was in a Christian band for a while with a songwriter, really good Christian writer. And I kind of learned from him. And he wasn't teaching me. I was just kind of being a sponge and soaking up and kind of figuring out that art of writing. And during COVID, it killed our little Christian band thing because all the churches were shutting down and they weren't having anybody in, and it killed a lot of musicians, not just Christian musicians. I mean, it put a lot of people musically out of business, and did us. And so I was kind of really an angry person during COVID, and just instead of catching myself being angry with like family and people who didn't do anything wrong, I couldn't get to the governor, so I couldn't wring his neck. I was just mad. I put it into the outlet of writing, and just now kind of getting around to this last year, 2024, took me quite a few years to get it all written. And then in 24, I started the process of recording, finished it up early summer 25, and released it in into July. And so that's where we're at.
Awesome, man. Yeah, and I've listened to it. It's good stuff. Definitely got a country kind of sound to it. But you got a few good. Well, they're all good, but particularly the Billy Joel cover. We didn't. What is it now? Sorry, we didn't start the scheming. That's it.
Yeah, that's it. You got it.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
just
little
list
parody of-
everything that the government, not even everything, but a long list of things the government has done to us
Impossible.
over the years.
Yeah. Yep. That was the thought behind it. Hey, let's start with because I always loved the song "We Didn't Start the Fire" by Billy Joel. Always a huge Billy Joel song. a Billy Joel fan. And I've always been a little
Him
more
right
old
there?
school. Yeah.
He's right over my shoulder, my
Oh
friend.
him on your
yeah,
wall.
he is, man.
That's a
It's
signed
well,
Billy Joel Stephen Holland painting, my friend.
wow, that's nice.
Yeah.
I'm in good company.
Oh, you heard about it canceling his tour, right?
Yeah.
Heard about the brain stuff? It's kind of crazy. It's
Oh,
unfortunate.
okay. I didn't know why. Okay. Man, that's
So
sad.
real quick, I just want to share a shout out. If everyone can just send some thoughts and prayers to Terry, who joined us as well. She's had a rough day too. I don't want to share it, but let's send some thoughts and prayers. And we've got Talk coming on already as well too. So welcome. All right. So before we continue,
Time. Before we continue, go ahead. Go ahead, Mark.
Yes.
Or you want me to go with it? Okay, I'll go. Here we go. It's time.
Isn't it you?
It's me. We're getting our shit together here.
It's been one of those days, man.
It's time for the moment that sends the lizard people running back to the sewers. It scrambles the CIA's spy network. It confuses the AI overlords and alters our base reality. Yes, folks, it's our very own whiskey rebellion, known only as the simulation sip.
All you need is a cup, a mug, a flask, a goblet, a horn, or an ancient alien thermos filled with any beverage Big Pharma hasn't recalled yet. Could be coffee, tea, ivermectin smoothies, even whiskey. Dealer's choice.
Cheers. It's good. Yep, you got to do it together. That's the only way to get rid of the CDC, to keep them off our back.
Those NPCs are out in the CBC on the FB and the Boomer social network. It's crazy.
You never know which three letters are coming after
Facebook. I've got you on Facebook, Ancap. You have to see my feed, my friend. Just scroll through and you will see the imminent retardation just just fester throughout every thread that I have. It's
Facebook can be a little bit of boomer time. It definitely.
We always tease Mark. That's why he likes to hang out there. He's a bit of a
That's
boomer.
totally why I like to hang out. My left hip's hurting me, man.
You know, I probably do better on Facebook too. You know, I guess my music is a little more old school. So it's not very hip and modern. I don't think it's more Grateful Dead kind of old school rock, which I guess is new school country. You know, but yeah.
Well, it has a very rhythmic driving kind of like force to it. Like, I don't want to say like a bluegrass, but there's a lot of driven rhythmic, right?
Yeah.
You're like kind of the rhythm of water, that dun, 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 there's a lot of that to it, which is great. Cause that's really a lot of the gospel probably that came into a lot of church stuff where it's, how to kind of hone the sound to make people kind of follow it. Right. Like, and kind of,
definitely. One song definitely could definitely go bluegrass. The Rothschild rag, it's old school rag, it follows the banking system that the Rothschild family so graciously gave us, that blueprint that all the central banks have followed, and now we have inflation as the norm, because of the Federal Reserve and all the central banks of the world. But so that one could definitely go bluegrass. Could have went that way. I can't play any bluegrass instruments, so I had to keep it piano driven.
So what's really interesting, like Jason and I live in Arizona, and we live in we're not homesteaders per se, but our message about liberty and decoupling and everything is I'd like to grow to that or get to that. But what I found interesting when you reached out is you talk about these things like we do, but you also live them. So like, I thought living it is way bigger than me just talking shit about it. So what could you share a little bit about when the homesteading started for you, how that grew, or if that was all, a little bit of your origin history, your origin story, if you were like, how did that come about?
I grew up in Royal, Virginia. I mean, in the middle of nowhere. And as soon as I turned 18, I wanted to get away from that. So I actually interned in some studios in Asheville, North Carolina. So I lived in Asheville for a while. Not Nashville, Asheville, North Carolina.
I know where that's at.
Yeah. Yep. Met my wife there. Ended up moving back, but not out in the boonies, more of a suburb of Richmond. Virginia, and we liked that for a while, and had some run-ins with just stupid. It's got a nickname, Arrest-a-Field. It's Chesterfield, but people refer to it as Arrest-a-Field. It's a very corrupt police force there. They don't have the typical sheriff like it do in my hometown. It's the, they got a chief of police, which is always open for corruption there. Anytime you do that, not that the sheriff's really any better, but at least you can, at least he gets fired every so often. But chief of police is there to stay, no matter what corruption follows them. And just some run-ins with them. I had an issue with a dog one time, a dog running at large charge. I mean, I grew up in the middle of nowhere. I didn't even know what these things existed. Dog at large, like dogs run around everywhere out here. I mean, it's hunting dogs. It lost, and it's like, what?
We're north of Mexico, man. We got 3-legged dogs everywhere.
Exactly. Well, evidently in Arrest-a-Field, it's a no-no. And this guy came, this animal control officer who wanted to be a cop, I think, and just maybe wasn't dumb enough to be a cop. I don't know how he got stuck as being an animal control officer, but I wasn't the nicest to him. And eventually he called the real cops, and they put me in handcuffs, and my daughters were locked inside. And, I actually, I want to get the camera footage. But I just never kind of sought it. But I went over to my door. I was like, can I at least go over and check on my daughters who are like locked inside? And I go to the window, and I'm handcuffed, and I show my daughter I think she's like 9 at the time. I'm like, this is what the state looks like right here. So just a couple of those encounters that I'm like, we're getting back out to the boonies. Like, I don't want to raise my kids in this crap. I want them to have fresh air and wide open spaces. And, I had 4-wheelers as a kid, and it was just, to me, it's a better life. It's further away from things and stores, but I don't know. I think it's a good trade-off. So that was, for me, we wanted to do that. And we were always going to homeschool our kids. So it didn't matter about being in a good school district and all that stuff. So we moved out and kind of started the process of homesteading. Even before that, we had chickens in the suburb, as many as the king would allow in the
and
county.
we're already homeschooling at this point. At some point, with having children
Yes.
or anything, or how did?
Yep.
From day one, you just were.
Well, I did a Christian school for my oldest at the very beginning.
Yeah, like a preschool or something.
Yeah. Oh, actually, yeah. She didn't go to preschool really. It was like kindergarten. And she goes, and somehow the conversation, I don't know if we're watching a sports thing and they're doing the national anthem or something. She's like, she mentions the Pledge of Allegiance. And I'm like, you're like 5. Like, what, and it's a Christian school. And it maybe that doesn't
Under God
seem weird to some people, but to me it was like, what are we doing here? And so I took her out of that, and she had been homeschooling ever since, so
That is weird, right? The Pledge of
Christian
Allegiance.
school. Yeah, a Christian school. You think I'm coming to a Christian school because I don't want to go to the state school. So why? But it seems like a lot of Christian schools are more statist and more pro America than the state run schools. And it's weird. It's so weird.
It's funny because it's more statist because they say they're not statist.
Yes.
Like,
there you go.
How much are we finding that the left and the right just want government their way?
Yes.
They don't want government a way like we do.
No.
Right? Like, we want it to be a way, not a certain way.
Yep.
Right? We just want it to be a way. Now, it's funny about the pledge because in 1954, they added the under God with Billy Graham's push to consolidate the Christianity. So, like, I'm an anti-theist, Tim. Now, it's not that I'm against, I admire faith. I think it's a beautiful connection directly to whatever you want to do. Okay.
Sure.
That's not what it is. I'm against the institutionalization of and all these other things. Now,
and I am too.
That said, though, like, to your point, just adding under God doesn't make it okay to put in a Christian school. Nor should it ever been there, nor should there have been a pledge in the first place. But, nationalism and all that good stuff. So.
Yeah. The ladies, like the I don't know if she was a principal. I don't know what she was, superintendent. her look on her face when I approached her with this, and I was very cordial with her. I was trying to be understanding and not come out looking like Dale Gribble from King of the Hill, you know. And
Well, what are you talking about, man?
oh yeah. And but her face was just like, I mean, she just couldn't believe it. That like,
Probably shock.
you're a Christian, but yet you don't like America. And I'm like, well, it's not really America as far as people. I'm okay with Americans, but the state, no, I'm not okay with that. They steal
Thank
everything
you.
they have, you know. And she's just like it's just right over her head, you know. And I'm like, okay, thank you for your time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To the listeners online right now, just so you know, this is the thing. Judeo-Christian is a made-up term.
Yes.
It's made up. It was initially used in the 1800s to describe Jewish people who converted to Christianity. And then it got hijacked in the 1930s to create a sense of national pride. It is not real. We can have values that are akin to Christianity or whatever. We can have aligned values, but this Judeo-Christian thing is such a trope, people.
Yeah.
It's not real. Wake up. This is a wake up show too. So, but that's awesome, man. So please continue. That's awesome. I love to hear this stuff.
Yeah. So some of those things were definitely attributed to it. It was like, let's just go back out to the boonies of where I was raised, and bought some land from my grandma. You know, she gave me a grandson deal. And so I was able to get like 13 acres out here, and just started with sheep. We actually had had a goat illegally in our Resta field, and like that, but the goats were a little too.
There's no amendment. There's no amendment Bill of Rights about goats. Like read like 2A, 2B, like Amendment 2B. Thou shalt the right for goats shall not be infringed or something.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
The right to bear goats.
Illegal goat.
The right to
I
bear
heard
goats.
illegal goat. I just feel like what illegal goat? Just
Yeah. Well, I don't know if that was so much the county thing or the subdivision that we were in. Those subdivisions can be just as tyrannical. The homeowners association.
HOAs are
Yes.
tyranny. Absolute tyranny. It's that one person on the corner, the looky-loo, trying to control the whole neighborhood.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And a goat get his head stuck in the fence. Have you ever heard a goat get its head stuck? It's like it's dying, like it's being murdered.
Yeah, because it can't back out. Like the ears don't whatever, and it goes.
Yeah.
Starts going like insane.
I mean, it's nuts.
Like,
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, you have Nancy out there and Karen, you know, and they report you and all this stuff. And so, yeah, that's why we just got out. And to me, the homesteading thing and the homeschooling kind of go hand in hand for me, because it's another way to just disconnect, not from society. I have no problem with society and people and groups, but it's disconnecting from the state, because the state is going to be more concentrated. To me, this is my personal opinion, more concentrated in the urban areas. It's what I've always seen. It seems like you have a little bit more. You can fly under the radar a little bit more out from the urban areas, and maybe get away with more illegal activity that is not really crimes against, you know. And when I say crime, I mean there's a victim. So if there's no victim, there's no crime. So a lot of stuff I do out here.
A great message at this point. Crimes without a victim aren't crimes, people.
They're not crimes at all.
Taking a drug for yourself to make you feel better, if you feel like it, without it hurting anyone else.
Yep.
Is a victimless crime.
Exactly. Yeah, but they don't want you taking natural stuff or even things that aren't natural. But they want you taking the prescribed stuff. You know, they want Big Pharma wants to control that interest. And so, you know, this is actually a song
the stuff that we're going to get on sale now. Now that we've nationalized healthcare.
Yes, yeah,
you're gonna have Trump RX.
Yeah. This
Let's
is
hear
actually
the
a song
Trump
I'm
RX.
working on.
Let's hear the Trump RX slogan, Jason.
I don't know what it. No,
The greatest.
it's the greatest ever.
It's the greatest. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways,
the greatest.
you're working on a song about that though.
Yeah, called this concept's not new to me. It's a very old concept. I can't remember off the top of my head who originally coined it, but the Baptist and the bootlegger idea of every time you have a law, there's the Baptists that always try to push the moral aspect. like take prohibition, for example. You know, it's wrong to drink. It's sinful. It's blah, whatever. They're pushing the moral side. The bootlegger's like, yeah, I can get behind this too, because I don't have the correct credentials. And so if it's outlawed, that means there's going to be more people coming to me because there's going to be less people in business doing it. And so there's always these two sides. And the same thing with Big Pharma. Big Pharma loves the drug laws because it keeps people relying on them. And then you've also got the Baptist, and a lot of them are Baptist, squawking about, oh, it's so wrong to smoke the devil's lettuce and to sniff that cocaine and all this stuff. And so they work hand in hand. There's always the Baptist and the bootlegger. You can take any law and you will find those two groups. The person who's going to benefit off of it, the law, and the person who's pushing it for a moral bullshit reason.
They both benefit off the law.
Yes.
They both benefit off the law. So we know it's one of those things. Well, that's what's funny, Jason. You brought If by Whiskey to the forefront. We were coming up with a name, trying to figure it out. Comes up with prohibition, right? Jason, you mind to share a little bit like with ANCAP? Because Tim doesn't know us that well about like the history behind that.
Yeah. So If by Whiskey refers to a speech that was given by a Mississippi State representative, Noah Soggy Sweat Jr. He was asked about prohibition, and at this time, prohibition had been already repealed in most of the states, but Mississippi was one of the last ones, holdouts. But he was asked about this, running a political campaign, and he gave a speech that took both sides of the issue on whiskey. And he said, if by whiskey you mean the thing that warms your belly on a cold day, the things that brings us together, the social lubricant, yada yada, then of course I love whiskey. But then if it's the thing that tears families apart, that ruins your life, that kills your health and all that, then of course I hate whiskey. And that became a logical fallacy and a very common description of a politician making these if by whiskey statements. So it all ties back to kind of the same idea. Prohibition, trying to outlaw something, creates a big black market for somebody else.
Yeah.
Well, here we go. Let's jump in. So prohibition in the 20s gives rise to families like the Kennedys, by the way, and people didn't know through prohibition, right? They had some kind of liquor thing going on, and then they come out of that on fire, right? While everyone else has crumbled, while the regulations have crippled everyone else. The ATF or whatever, the prior to the ATF, the ones who enforce those laws now don't have jobs, but they need a purpose. So they just switch it over to reefer madness. They go after the devil's lettuce, to your point, Tim. And there we go, right? So like then we get the war on drugs, narco-terrorism. It's not a real thing. Once again, another made-up term. How close does that sound to a narco-terrorism, anyone? Does that sound really close, so that when you hear it on the news, when they start talking about narco-terrorism from people who are just liberty-minded, that they're like, oh yeah, but they're narco-terrorists. You're gonna see this shit. It's such an easy shift. I'm seeing like the ad geniuses work this out in real time, but like I'm 8 steps ahead looking at it, how they're gonna manufacture our consent. It's
you got the chart with the pins and the red string all in your background over there.
Give me a cigarette and some coffee, man.
Yeah. Well, you touch on a lot of these things in your songs too.
And, we're the crazy people. Yeah, exactly.
yeah. But I heard you on another show saying that you've got a conservative background. You came from that. So how did you get from that to anarcho-capitalist, which is a lot bigger the jump than a lot of people realize? Because Mark and I both kind of came from the same thing, but it's always interesting to hear like what things did it for you. What really showed you that wasn't working or that wasn't right?
Yeah. And I joke on some other shows that I've been on. Well, I wish I was joking about this, but this is a true statement. On my 18th birthday, I had a picture, like, you know how you can put a picture on a cake and kind of ice around it, you know, the old school way, early 2000s, not the screen thing that they do now, where you can actually eat the picture. Didn't have that, but just like a printed picture, icing around it. You know, my mom made it look good, but it was George W. Bush on my fucking 18th birthday cake. Yes. So yeah, I was in bad.
The illegal invasion of Iraq. I mean Ukraine. 75. Chinese.
Yeah. That guy. you know, I would wear I had a Bush Cheney shirt that I would wear to school. Like, you know, this was before I graduated, but I was so excited in 04, I could vote for him because I couldn't in 2000, but I could vote for him being 18. You know, so I just want you to see how entrenched I was. And then in 08, after I voted for Bush, 08 came, and here this guy, John McCain, who I didn't even like being a Bush fan. He's pushed on the scene and pushed as far as this is the guy. We got to support him. You know, if you're a Republican, you have to support John McCain. And that always rubbed me wrong a little bit. But then Ron Paul also comes on the scene in 08. Well, on the national scene. And I get to start listening to Ron Paul. And
I heard he was right. I just heard that.
He was right about a lot of stuff.
I was actually, I was at his 90th barbecue this year. I paid so much. I mortgaged my house to do it. It was like a bucket list, one item kind of thing.
I don't blame
totally
you.
worth it. I met Dave Smith. We met Dan McKnight of Defend the Guard.
Nice.
I saw Matt Kibbe for like the handful of time. I saw Kennedy again. It was an amazing experience. Saw Big Kane, the Big Red Monster. He's a Knox County mayor. Amazing experience. But Ron Paul, please continue.
Yeah, it was Ron, like so many, that woke me up. And even though I didn't agree with him at the time, I still voted for John McCain reluctantly in 08. But I started listening to Ron Paul, and at one of the debates that he had with Rudy Giuliani is when he was talking about blowback and how that it's real. We've been messing with these countries. We've been bombing these Middle Eastern countries for years, and we expect that they're not going to retaliate. You know, and I don't even believe that necessarily 9/11 was done by a bunch of Arab terrorists now, but at the time that was what we were all sold. And but yeah.
Wait a minute. You're telling me you don't believe the official 9/11 story?
They found a passport 8 miles away in the rubble, Tim.
Yeah, it was a miracle.
How dare you?
I know. But so Ron Paul is talking about blowback at the time. And I'm like, you know, this makes sense. And maybe we shouldn't be the policemen of the world. You know, I'm starting to go down this track.
Term. He's not even coining it. He's just actually sharing what the CIA calls it. No one actually makes that connection that CIA came up with the term blowback.
Blowback.
Like,
okay.
They knew ahead of time before they'd even start something that
it was going to
blow back because we're over there.
Yeah.
You know? Oh.
Exactly. Because war is a machine. And if it's not continually to be fed, then they can't make new bombs, and they can't make any money. They have to be using bombs and blowing stuff up for them to be need for more. And so, you start to get into that, and the war's a racket. And so really war was the issue for me that brought me out of this conservative BS and the Republican Party. And, you know, I didn't go to the Democrat side. But
how could you? Seriously, like, it at this point, by the time you have this cognitive dissonant moment, the left has already gone lost its mind too. Like,
true.
It's not like you were going over there.
Yeah,
you might go less right, but you were not going over there, man.
Especially coming from the right wing upbringing. I mean, because the right are right about some things, guns,
lifestyle, survival, responsibility, accountability.
Yes,
There's so many personal things that we take.
Lower taxes, you know, I mean, not no taxes, but lower taxes. And, you know, so there's some things that some truths that I got from them. I'm not going to just throw the whole baby out with the bathwater, but the majority of the conservative movement is nothing but statism. And so war was what woke me up. And then from then on, in 2012, I voted for Gary Johnson. I was in the Libertarian Party, and I'm not going to knock the Libertarian Party, but I think I've kind of
Aleppo.
Yeah, exactly. I heard him big time.
But Gary Johnson was a movement, man.
He was. I got to shake his hand at one of the events in Richmond, and you know, it was. I was definitely in the Libertarian Party for a while. Kind of outgrew that, and I don't mean that derogatory way, because I think the Libertarian Party does a lot of good. just like Ron Paul, who's a Republican his whole life, did a lot of good. So I think sometimes us in the anarchy movement, we are too quick to label something. You're a poser. You're not as true to the message as me.
Purity
And maybe,
test.
yeah, a purity test. And maybe some of that's true and some of that needs to be done. But I think we go overboard with it instead of, well, hey, let's let this guy do what he's doing and leave him alone. And he's waking people up in his own way. You see it a lot now with like Candace Owens. Candace Owens is no anarchist. I mean, she's no libertarian even. She's a pretty much social conservative, but she's waking a lot of people up to that the government is lying to you. These are good things. I don't want to stop her. Tucker Carlson is another one. He's not.
We've been pointing our
He's not
aim in the wrong
AncapTim.
direction.
Yes,
We've been pointing the guns at each other,
yeah,
or whatever we're using. We're not pointing them at the problem, and the
right.
problem is the consolidated power of the consolidation of power.
Yeah, 100%.
Jason, you want to go through some of the comments or anything in the meantime before we get back to you, Kim?
Yeah, just on that, like I always felt like the right was kind of on the right track, but then in practice they just never did any of the things they talked about. Like so, I don't know who said it, but they run like libertarian. Was it Tom Woods? They run like a libertarian and then they govern like John McCain, something like that. And so it always,
no matter who you vote
no
for,
matter who you vote for, you get John McCain. Yeah,
yeah, that's Tom Woods. Yeah, that's yeah. But anyway, yeah. So it's like it's just kind of like logical end, but I feel like you could also take that from the left too, because they're more concerned about maybe big corporations, controlling too much. And you could say, okay, yeah, you're right. The big corporations do control a lot, but how do they get that power? From lobbying the government. So, I mean, I think you could take this both directions and end up in the logical end of the state is illegitimate. It's too much.
Well, if you look at during Obama's tenure and when a lot of people were waking up in 12 and 08 and 2012, the Occupy Wall Street movement, they weren't all just commies. They had a lot, like you just said, they had a lot of truth there as far as corporations have too much power, but they have too much power because of the state. They didn't quite get there, but they were close. Some of them would even admit it. But then you had the Tea Party at the same time. You had two of these movements that were at the root anti-state, and they just could never, if they would have ever got together, wow. I mean, that would have been a game changer. But of course, the powers that be made sure they didn't. Well, there you go.
They would not. In addition to that, they added racism and sexism into the mix to bifurcate us even more. And that's actually under Obama, under the most racist country, the re-election of a black president. The most racist country re-elected a black president. It's like unbelievable what they did. Now, Wall Street was a populist movement, but at least it was pointing in the right direction. This no kings thing. What's the point? We hate Trump. What is the point of no kings right now? What, like this new one that's coming up? It's not even a movement. It's a we're just pissed and we're going to wear pink vagina hats or something or whatever.
Yeah.
Like this makes no sense. Has zero oomph behind it. It's like the distraction to say we did something without any actual real movement or actual teeth.
To me, it's just we don't want that king. We want our king. We want our guy.
There you go. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, here's a good question.
That's not a problem that it tries to solve.
It's a good question from our boy Zach, the Legacy Right. He said, "Scriptures brought me away from anarchy, and while I'm of the practicality of agorism, I'm no longer an anarchist." I guess you mentioned Christianity, so I think this may be a good question for you. How does that interplay, the Christianity with anarchy? Do you find a difference between agorism and anarchism?
I think they're definitely under the same tent, because I love a lot of agorism. I mean, I've got a song that says black markets are better. I love black markets. But I'm a little bit of a weird ANCAP. I do think that the term capitalism has been hijacked. I don't think it means what people say we're a capitalist nation. No, we're not. So that's where you ran capitalism through the dirt when you say America is capitalist. It's not. It's not capitalism. It's cronyism at best. Socialist really is what it is. So black markets to me are the freest market there is, black and gray markets. And so to me, they are the closest thing to capitalism. And some people would disagree on that because I think we disagree on the defining of capitalism. So I think it's sometimes better to say voluntary exchange. The closest thing we have to voluntary exchange is me saying, you want this service, we'll trade here, you give me this, I give you this. The closest thing we have to that, I think, is the black market, because it has no taxes, it has no badges. It's just one person trading with another person freely. So on that, I love agorism. I think it's great. Do you have to be an anarchist to be an agorist? Probably not. I am, and I consider myself an agorist as well as an ANCAP. But yeah, what was the other? Is another question?
The other
there?
part, yeah, those are big questions. But
Christianity, yeah.
Christianity, how does
We
that
have
fit
14
into
more
anarchism?
parts, and then there's gonna be a quiz and an IQ test at the end of this, and then we're.
I'm feeling that for sure.
Yeah, those are two very deep questions. So I don't know where to start with that exactly, but how have you found any conflicts? Or do you feel like it does fit perfectly, or what?
No, I don't. The big ones. I actually did a little short today about the whole Jesus saying render under Caesar. And just real quick, Jesus was asked,
Is that the part about leave what Caesar's his and leave what to Rome and leave what Jesus to do? What can you explain? Can you put a little context behind that?
Yeah,
just because I'm not of scripture, so if you
no, that's totally fine. Yeah, the context behind it is the Pharisees were always trying to trap Jesus. They didn't ask him questions because they wanted to know the answer. They asked him questions because they wanted to try to expose him.
They tried to Kathy Newman him?
Yeah, basically. Yeah. And so they had a damned if you do, damned if you don't question. And their question was whether he answered it yes or no, we were going to hang him. And the question was, is it lawful to give tribute, give taxes unto Caesar? And Jesus did not say yes or no. He didn't. If he would have said yes, it is lawful, they would have labeled him pro-Rome, and then all of his followers would have went away, because most of his followers were anti-Rome. They were thinking he was going to come and abolish the Roman government and set up his own government. And he didn't say no, because if he said no, they were going to label him anti-Rome and they were going to sick Rome on him. And so either way, he was he was, like I said, damned if you do, damned if you don't. So he didn't play their game. He instead said, do you have a coin? And they handed him a coin. He said, and he was in the temple of God, whether you believe it was God's house or not. It was the temple of God. They should have believed it was God's house. And he looked at the coin. And he said, whose face is on this coin? And they said, well, it's Caesar. And he said, you got to understand something. Caesar claimed to be God on earth, God in the flesh. And so he said, well, you basically got your answer. He said, render under Caesar what's Caesar's. So he showed them that they already chose their God. They had Rome, that they weren't looking for the God of their fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. They had Caesar, who was their God, and their money showed it, and it proved it. And so Jesus rose above the question and said, so he didn't say, yes, it is lawful to render unto Caesar taxes. He didn't, because they would have turned all of his followers against him by saying he was pro-Rome, and he didn't. But yeah.
So what you're saying is, so what you're saying is,
here comes the Pharisee. Mark.
We should get into precious metals and everything and get away from that. But that's the truth. It's like by acknowledging state currency, you've already taken the state as your overseer, over, and especially over God in this case, right.
Using it in a temple that was supposed to be God's house, and they were not. I think it's shortly after this, or right before it, Jesus flips. I think it's right after it. He flips the tables, because they're using this currency to buy and sell sacrifices at, they're jacking the prices all the way up because they know they got them. They've made it all the way to Jerusalem and they don't have a sacrifice. So, hey, we're going to gouge them. Typical the Jews being Jews back. Oh, sorry, I shouldn't have said that.
That's it. Time out. Hey, Jason, I don't know if you know this, but we're going to get demonetized on YouTube now.
Those
3 views every month that we get on there totally is like putting us over the top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good,
Yeah.
dude. I totally get what you're saying. Please feel free to clarify that, because we're not going to clip that, but someone might. So can you please clarify that so you can clip a clarification to rebut? Please feel free, because I
Yes.
know you caught it right away. It's
It
like
was,
singing a song with the N-word in it, and you're in the
yes.
middle of it, and you're like,
It was a
Dumb.
racist joke. I enjoy jokes that involve
yeah.
racism. I make fun of white people all the time.
Thank you.
Mayonnaise is spicy,
Okay, Tim. All right, Tim, calm down. Tim Walls. Anyway. All right. Even the dogs didn't like that one. Apparently. So anyway, good. Please continue. I'm sorry, we're just having some fun here. So everyone, thank you so much for joining. Grumpy. So tomorrow night, we got Zach, Grumpy Gnome, and Sean Buds in Reality on Are You Smarter Than a Politician? So everyone needs to tune in Tuesday, tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern. It'll be live. The chat is crazy. It's a lot of fun. People learn a lot of stuff. It'll be great. So we're looking.
This is
forward
our
to it.
mandatory plug of that show. We both had to
Mandatory,
sell our
absolutely.
souls to get on it. So
Yeah, we
we're
did, I think.
obligated now to mention it every episode. So Are You Smarter Than a Politician? Go check it out on YouTube. Freedom Uncut.
Freedom Uncut. Rumble, YouTube, X, they broadcast songs. Anyway,
I don't know if you've been on, but Tim, you should go. It's a good time.
yeah,
Good
I have
time.
to try it out. Definitely.
yeah. Well, I'm in the works. I've got a music themed one. If you know what I'm thinking as well, who else I'm thinking of, Jason?
Mhm.
I got a music theme that we might be trying to do a little collaboration here. We'll get it.
Yes. Well, here's a softball question for you on the Christianity stuff. People will say, "Oh, Jesus said to share with your neighbor, and you should love everyone, and yada yada yada." Therefore, we need the government to do these services for other people, to have a welfare state, so that we take care of the poor, and we help our neighbors when they need help. What would you say to that?
I would say I have a song that sums it up really well on the album. It's called "Good Ideas Do Not Require Force." So if it's a good idea to help people, it is. It's a good idea to love. It's a good idea to take care of those who can't. It's not a good idea if it requires a gun to your head to do so. So Jesus never said use Rome to do these things. He said you do them, and talking to his followers. So yeah, I don't think Jesus was a statist. And people get hung up that with some of Paul's writings in Romans 13.
I think he was a non-interventionist. Like you know what I mean? It's like, let me just live my freaking life. Like, hello. It's like very Quaker-like in its way. I'm from Philadelphia. We have that very live and let live kind of mentality where it's like, go do what you got to do.
Right. And the state killed him for it. Whether it was, the religious crowd set him up to the state, but it was the state who carried it out. It was Rome that crucified Christ, with the Jews screaming for it. I mean, the religious Jews, the system that they had at the time. But yeah, I definitely, I don't see Jesus as a socialist. I don't see Jesus as a statist. Yeah, he preached voluntary exchange, and he preached doing things personally for other people. And it wasn't about a show. He even talked about prayer. Don't pray openly and so that everybody can hear you. Pray privately. So it was all about changing the inward and then helping people outwardly. It wasn't about statism at all.
And from a 50,000 foot level, if I were to look at this stuff, I'd be like, it seems like his message was of service.
Yeah.
But to your point, it was voluntary. It's like, this is what we're here for, is to serve each other. And by serving each other, no one's selfish because everyone else is like picking the fleas off the other monkey's fur, right? Like, that's kind of the whole point of it. Like, it's more than just social. It's like actual.
In communism, if you want to move out in the middle of nowhere and make a commune and it's voluntary, I have no problems with the idea of a commune, the idea of the community built where everybody does their share and all that stuff, as long as it's voluntary. People choose to be there and they choose to live under whatever contract they set up. I have no issue with that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. That was an easy question. Maybe a little harder one.
Oh,
I think it's Romans 12 that always gets brought up. Is 12
yeah.
or 13? I can't
12 or
remember. But
13. I think I said 13 earlier, but I think it might be. I think 12 goes into 13, but yeah,
yeah,
the thought.
That's
it's
kind of how
around there
numbers
anyway.
go,
People
guys.
can find it.
12
It's
goes into 13, goes into
where
14.
the apostles say that they're asked something about, oh, should we submit to the government? And they said, yeah, governments are set up by God and ordained by God, I think is the phrasing in there. So,
Yes, what Paul says.
um,
Yes. Mhm.
yeah. So, what do we make of that?
Well, I think there's two different thoughts of that in the Christian anarchist. Number one, the previous chapter, which I think is 12. It could be off a chapter, it could be 11, but I think it's 12. He kind of gives the criteria to being an overseer or being in authority. And it's basically the bar is so high that no one can reach it. So then he goes into talking about we should submit. And so I think what Paul is doing, Paul is writing a letter to the Roman citizens, knowing full well it's going to be read by the Roman state.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think he's writing in code, so to speak, writing in a way that they're going to read it and they're going to be like, huh, this Christianity doesn't sound too bad. It's talking about submitting to us, you know? But I don't think that's what he's talking about. I think he's given the criteria in the previous chapter in which Rome did not qualify. And so, yeah, that's kind of how I
almost saying something like, if you can do these things,
Yes.
then you
Then-
might have the ability to have the
Yes.
authority.
Yes,
Mm.
yes. That
And then clearly they were short.
right. And if you think about it, it really makes sense because that's how, if it was any other letter written any other way that didn't have that in it, Rome would have cracked down on Christianity even harder. And they still end up cracking down on Christianity. The person who wrote that, submit, ends up being murdered by Rome because he didn't submit. They told him, stop preaching Jesus. He said, fuck you. I mean, basically, and they killed him. They cut his head off. So to say that Romans 13 means that we need to submit, it's kind of laughable because it was written by someone who didn't submit. And I love how American Christians always love, if they find I'm an anarchist, they're always like, well, Romans 13 says, blah, 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 submit to the government. Okay. Were the founders right or wrong, according to your interpretation of Romans 13, when they rebelled against the British government? Did they submit? They should have just submitted, right? Well, no. That was God ordained. The founding of this country was God ordained. Well, no. But
Per Ted
said
Cruz,
Romans
leave what's to
13.
the state of Israel. Those who shall bless Israel shall be
Oh,
blessed.
yeah.
It doesn't matter what government's in Israel right now. It matters
Right.
that it's Israel.
Exactly. So it didn't matter that you had taxation without representation.
Right.
They were the
This
government God
logical-
gave you.
Yeah, this
Yes.
circular BS.
Oh,
is
yeah.
like
Yeah,
crazy,
yeah.
man. It's all
Right.
it's like hypocritical, like, woo, circular. Anyway.
Yeah. So I say, look at it logically. If Paul meant what he said, why was Paul killed by the state for saying, no, I'm not going to do what you tell me to do. I'm going to keep preaching Christ.
Yeah.
You want to read that?
Zach
Jason?
says you made his
That-
day.
that's all.
Tim, he'd love to have you on for a theological conversation. My
Hey.
purpose on this earth is to bring people back home to the church.
Hey, I'd love
Zach,
it. I'm
it's
not
working,
that
buddy.
deep theological, but hey, I love a good theological discussion. I'm kind of shallow.
I find
I'll
it really
bring my
interesting how
alien
these
shit
two
and
things
screw it all up.
interplay. And you could take a Christian take on this or not, but what do you think about the overall idea of trying to convince people that the state is immoral or illegitimate or anything like that? Because we saw during COVID, for example, people loved what the state did. Not everybody, of course, but there were a big group of people that just said they didn't do enough. they gotta intervene more in our lives. And if we tried to take it away, they're just going to I don't know, they'll just build it right back up and probably worse. So I mean, is it worth our time? And does that tie into that the Christian idea that you just kind of store up your treasures in heaven and wait for God to mete out his justice? I struggle with this. I don't really know what to think.
Yeah, I do too. I think from a Christian's perspective, this world is not our home. We are called ambassadors for Christ. That means that we are living in a foreign nation.
From an alien perspective, it's not our home either. So we're aligned there.
There you go. There you go. Hey, there's a lot to that whole ancient alien thing that I think lines up.
I know. We'll talk about it. I know
Bible.
that would be such a rabbit hole. I'd love you to share your thoughts. We'll talk later. I don't want to derail you on that.
Okay. Sometimes, see, my strategy, this is just me personally. Remember, I have no problem with Ron Paul, the new Ron Paul, which is Thomas Massey. He's a Republican, that an elected official in Mordor, but he stands up for some decent things. But my view of what I think is best for us to combat the state is to pull back from the state. Is to homeschool your kids. Number one, if you can do that. I know it doesn't work for everybody, but if you can, make it work. Because don't let Caesar teach your kids and then wonder why they're Roman. Teach them voluntary exchange. Teach them free markets.
What the pledge has under God in it, Tim.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't care
Which
about
God?
that.
Yeah.
Right. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
The God of the state is what I think it's about. But yeah, statism. I think statism is the world's largest religion. But I think we need to pull back. Homestead, black markets. Man, I'm a fan of black markets. If you can trade and you can buy and sell without the government knowing about it, Bitcoin is a way, I think, to do that. I think the blockchain might be used against us in the future, but as of right now, any way to get away from the state, I think, is great, and form your own communities. And I'm not saying it has to be communes, like little communes, but like they can be with the social media and the web. These communities can branch massive distances, and
that sounds like thought crime, Tim.
Yeah, it is a bit. It is a bit. Yeah,
Look,
I think
you
we can
and
trade
Zach
with
are
each
going to
other.
be having a love fest because you just brought in Bitcoin and blockchain. Zach is probably doing something at his desk that we're not going to talk about right now. Just saying.
Okay.
Why would you even say that?
Because it's fun. We're just having a good time here on a Monday, man. We're just running through some. Jason, do you mind pulling up Chuck Dollar Sign's point about the Old Testament about where is it? About not
Yeah, he
following
says
the
in the New
There.
Testament, Jesus said, "His kingdom is in heaven. Each of us in our belief in God." Again, no rulers. Do not need a ruler. Old Testament typo.
Yeah.
So just a point on that. What's interesting too is like COVID, to Michael Mouse's point, many people are stupid. The majority of people are not competent to do certain level things. That's not bad or anything. That's just a fact of like diversity and the variety of life. Okay. That's how it works. But some people, what they lack in that competency, they really lack in ability to like get in line and to follow orders. And that's what I think COVID exposed. It exposed all the dumb fucks who really like to be the looky-loos and institute for someone else because they can follow. I'm the best at following rules. I'm the best because I'm not good at anything else.
Anything
I have
else?
no
Yes.
other redeemable quality value other than following.
Yeah, that was kind of what I was getting at. Is like people don't want freedom. Most people really don't. If it comes down to it, like they might say they do, but that could be way down their list of priorities. You know, they'd rather have someone taking care of their needs, even if that means, hey, I don't have to think. You know, I don't have to have freedom. I can just sit in my house and be taken care of and live off of everybody else's expense.
Yeah, and that's accountability thing. It's the accountability and responsibility. That takes work, guys. Liberty is messy.
Yeah.
It's not easy. But this is the point. It's not about the conflict. It's about the conflict resolution. Because how we resolve the conflict is really the problem. Because to say there won't be conflict, there is no utopia. Everyone's going to come into conflict. But how we address it. So, Tim, before we cut it anything, because like we've all had a long days, please, can you mind sharing all your stuff, all your socials and everything? But as we continue the show, we've already got 150 people on the X, and we've got a bunch of people on Rumble. So thank you everyone for joining us. This has been so awesome, and thanks for joining us.
Yeah. If you want to hear my stuff, you can go to AncapTim.com, and there it has all the links to all of the streaming services. It's the debut album is on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, all of those, everyone you can think of. You can just type in AncapTim and I should come up. The album is a little bit on the nose. The title is called "The State's Just a Mafia." There's a title that title comes from one of the songs, the first song called "State of Affairs." That's kind of the hook of that song, "The State's Just a Mafia." But I'm on YouTube. I'm on Facebook with all the boomers, and the people who like my music, which is more old school. And X, Instagram. If you're on X, please give me a follow, because I think I've been like shadow banned, and I get no traction.
We all
Zero
have, man.
on
We
X.
all have.
Yeah.
Trust
Yeah.
me.
So that's where us anarchist community needs to come together and help each other out and like stuff and watch at least halfway through something, and
Terry's great about that, by the way. Terry
Yeah.
on in the chat. She's the best, and she'll help you grow. So we'll get everybody connected. But basically, yeah, this is Terry right there.
Nice.
Terry says freedom requires personal responsibility and consequences. Very correct. Yeah, taking it back to the music again before we wrap up, just what kind of feedback do you get? I mean, do you get people that come in not knowing what to expect? They're like, "Oh, I like the tune here," and then they're like, "Whoa, what are you talking about? You're saying America is not the greatest country in the world? What's happening here?"
Yeah, I think with a name like AncapTim, I'm
guess,
definitely
hard
I'm
to
definitely
slip by people.
Yeah, I have a niche audience. But some of my, like the song I've talked about, Black Markets, where the black markets grow. I've kind of stepped out into some of those homesteading markets and gone on some of those podcasts and different things. And so I've seen some good people have been receptive to that song because they live it. I mean, they're, farmers markets and trading and bartering neighbor to neighbor. I raise sheep and sell the meat in the black market, and so I've got a little bit of
Stripe.
cred.
We only accept Stripe at our farmers market. Sorry, Ancap. Stripe and Venmo.
Yeah.
GoFundMe and
And
it's
Bitcoin
like so
Cash.
funny. Like we have farmers markets, and it's like, dude, they're not farmers.
Yeah, I know. Well, most farmers markets are what I'd call gray markets, but that's why I think black markets are the best. That you don't have no government interaction, and so yeah, I've kind of gotten into some of the normies with some of the homesteading stuff, but for the most part, it's probably just been people like us that have listened to it, and so I've had a lot of good feedback. Negative stuff has maybe been like, yeah, I really like the lyrics and everything, but it's maybe not my style. They may be like more harder stuff, like more heavy stuff or rap or stuff like that. That ain't me. So,
Sure.
I'm not your guy if that's what you want. But if you're more middle of the road, with maybe some old school vibe to it, maybe a little bit of 90s alternative, maybe more modern country, but it's not overly pop, I don't think. But then give me a listen. And even if you don't like me, pull me up on Spotify and hit play, and then put your phone in the other room and just leave it. It helps me. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, so I do have one interesting question, because you mentioned like Richmond, and it makes me think of that one song that Richmond of Richmond thing. And I don't do comparative people with musicians, but do you have a musician community that you guys get together, or are you guys kind of all so individualized? Because like the true way to live is like alone and with interaction versus together with over interact. Like if you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but I actually have something interesting to say to that. I don't know Oliver Anthony. That's the guy you're talking about. I don't know him personally. He doesn't live too far from me. But I do know his drummer and his bass player. Actually played in a band with his drummer, one of the fine drummer. His name is Noel. And he was one of the first ones I sent to listen to the album, just to kind of critique it. And
Very
so
cool.
yeah, yeah, we kind of know each other, but I don't know him personally. I just know some of his bandmates.
Yeah, and I was just like I said, like more of a community thing because I was in a cover band and like in the Philadelphia area, there was like this group,
Yes, yes,
and everybody knew everybody somehow in some
yeah,
connection, but it was like a very Kevin Baconish kind of degree, 2-3 degrees separated.
100%, definitely, yeah.
Jason,
Yeah,
sir,
one
you have
more,
anything?
question I had is just
Yeah.
what kind of messages do you find work or resonate with people that are outside this libertarian ANCAP world? You're talking to normies. What kind of things tend to hit home with them?
I think again, not to beat a dead horse, but the homestead thing, the black markets, and
Being the change you want to see,
yeah,
right? I
and
mean, is that really what you're living the life that you're claiming
yeah,
you
yeah,
want?
right, yeah. And I will say that the whole Epstein thing and them thinking Trump was going to just blow the cover off of it and expose all this stuff, and then nothing happened. That was a big one. Because it was hard for me to watch so many liberty leaning people jump on Trump's train this last time. It was like talk about people like Tom Woods and Dave Smith and
Dave
people
Smith
who I
and Clint
love.
Russell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not that I threw them out, like, because I'm not one of those guys that are going to throw out somebody that's as profound as Dave Smith and Tom Woods, but it really hurt me, And so, but to see them be like, okay, yeah, we got fooled. I'm like, well, duh, everybody knew that was going to happen.
Right.
I mean, Tom,
Yeah.
you say no matter who you vote for, you get John McCain. So like, what? But anyway,
It's crazy because
I think
I've
that's
got a
brought people
Cash
back.
Patel store, Freedom Fest 2024. I'm in Vegas, and Cash Patel's on a panel with Russell, I think McCardle, and Brett Weinstein. And I'm sitting there and like, you hear Cash talking his shit, and I'm like, it's off. He's not that guy. He's pandering. Like I could smell it. And like, I don't want to call people out because I think people give way more grace than I do. I don't give the grace others do. You got to convince me a little bit. You got to earn it. But like Clint gave him a little too much grace. And these are healthy criticisms. These aren't to actually criticize these people. I criticize myself for my lack of grace sometimes. But when you can smell it, and you're like, Bongino's a freaking Fed. He's an ex-Secret Service agent. These things are not, they're not telling you the truth if they get the power. They won't do it. And what happened? I mean, it was like, oh, here we go again.
Yeah, I know. It was disheartening, but I think the Epstein thing and the whole what do they call it? Doge? Is that what it's called? That thing? That was just a big joke. It didn't do anything. And so I think these things have been good. The Charlie Kirk.
No, it collected data. It scrubbed data. You don't get it, Tim. It totally helped them out.
Yes, it did do things, but not what they sold on the liberty loving crowd. Yeah, no. Yeah, that stuff freaks me out. Not to go down that rabbit trail, but this Trump's whole administration loving AI and seeing them possibly using blockchain technology, and like there's some people in like Silicon Valley that have looked at in Revelation where it talks about the mark of the beast, and they're like, oh yeah, that's blockchain.
What did I say before we jumped on? I was okay. Jason and I literally just I'm like, did you watch
Yes.
Peter Thiel talk about the Antichrist and becoming the Antichrist to fight off the Antichrist? And then you ask him if he's the Antichrist, and it takes him 5 seconds to actually think and wonder, maybe I am. Maybe. You know what? Maybe I don't think I am. No,
Never thought about it. Yeah, maybe.
No. After much consideration, like
much
not
consideration.
knee-jerk, what the fuck are you talking about? No, and it's let me think about that for 5 seconds before
we've done an internal review and found ourselves not guilty of any wrongdoing. Well, anyways, Tim, thank you so much for joining us. Mark, any final thoughts?
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Yeah. So first of all, Tim, thanks so much for joining us. We're going to connect each other. Follow Terry because we got some cool stuff for you to talk about with you.
Yeah.
And Roman, hopefully Roman will watch this as well, but we got to talk with him as well because Roman's done our intro and outro music. Terry, Zach, Free, Randall, Chuck Dollar Sign, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. This is an awesome If by Whiskey, as always, man.
It's been too long since I've cared. I keep the pain inside my head. But this reckless life of a bandit will surely take me to my grave.